Fourth lesson, Reproduction of Animals. Time to warm up. Observe the sorting of animals: insect, bird, mammal, riptides and amphibians. Time to know. Reproduction is one of the most characteristic features of living organisms. Life would not exist on Earth if plants and animals did not reproduce to make their offspring. By reproducing, a living organism can be sure that there is another individual of its kind to take its place when it dies. In this way, a species of organism guarantees its survival. How animals reproduce. Animals can be grouped into those which give birth to living offspring and those which lay eggs that eventually hatch into offspring. Those animals which give birth to live offspring are called live-bearing or viviparous. Those animals which lay eggs are called egg-laying or oviparous. The difference is in the place where the offspring develops before it is born. Animals that give birth to babies. Another difference is the way animals give birth to their young babies. Most baby mammals grow inside their mother until they are born. This is something that makes mammals different because most other kinds of animals do something else. Examples: dogs, cats, lions, elephants, deer, cows, etc. Babies growing in eggs. Reptiles. Reptiles usually lay eggs, and the babies then grow inside the egg until they are ready to come out. Sometimes reptiles will give birth like mammals without eggs. Amphibians. Amphibians lay thousands and sometimes millions of small, soft eggs, and they lay them in the water. The eggs are jelly-like. The early part of an amphibian's life is spent in the water, and usually as they get older, then they also spend time on land. The process amphibians go through is called metamorphosis. Baby amphibian looks completely different than the adult amphibians. Fish. Fish also lay many eggs, sometimes millions of tiny eggs. They are also laid in the water. Birds. Although all birds lay eggs, it is curious that they do so because the time of highest mortality in most birds usually occurs during the egg-laying period. Apparently, birds lack some adaptation that would permit them to become viviparous. Most birds build a nest and incubate their eggs, but the incubator birds and such brood parasites as cuckoos are among the exceptions to this rule. Many females that lay a fixed number of eggs are referred to as determinant layers. The pigeons and doves are outstanding examples of this behavior. For some as yet unknown reason, they never lay more than 1 or 2 eggs. Other species are often referred to as indeterminate layers because, in the absence of a suitable stimulus, they continue to produce eggs. More often than not, this stimulus is the presence in the nest of certain number of eggs. Animals that grow up. Simple life cycle. Most animals, including fish, mammals, reptiles, and birds, have very simple life cycles. They are born either alive from their mother or hatched from eggs. They grow up. These animals have 3 stages: before birth, young, and adult. The young are typically similar to the parent, just smaller. The young slowly grow to become adults. Amphibians. Amphibians, like frogs and newts, have a slightly more complicated life cycle. They undergo a metamorphosis, a big change. They are born either alive from their mother or hatched from eggs. They spend their childhood underwater, breathing with gills. They grow into adults and move to the land, breathing with lungs. Animals that undergo a complete metamorphosis. Insects. These insects have 4 stages in their life cycle: egg, unborn stage; larva, Young stage, this is when most of the feeding is done. They usually look like worms. Pupa, inactive, no feeding, stage between larva and adult stages, usually when camouflaged. Adult, final breeding stage, they usually grow wings. Animals that undergo an incomplete metamorphosis. About 10% of insects go through an incomplete metamorphosis. They do not have a pupal form. These include dragonflies, grasshoppers, and cockroaches. These insects have 3 stages in their life cycle: egg, unborn stage; nymph, young stage, this is when most of the feeding is done; adult, final breeding stage, including wings. Life cycle of butterfly. Butterflies go through a life cycle. A butterfly has 4 stages in its life cycle. Each stage is different. Each stage also has a different goal. A butterfly becoming an adult is called metamorphosis. The life cycle process can take a month to a year. It depends on the type of a butterfly. The first stage is the eggs. This is where a girl butterfly lays eggs. She lays them on a leaf. The second stage is the caterpillar. This is where the eggs hatch. It takes about 5 days for eggs to hatch. A caterpillar then comes out. At this stage, the caterpillar eats all the time. It also grows really fast. Once it is all the way grown, the third stage starts. This stage is the chrysalis. The caterpillar makes a chrysalis. The caterpillar is inside the chrysalis. Inside the chrysalis, it starts to change. It soon changes into a butterfly. Once the caterpillar has changed into a butterfly, the fourth stage starts. This is also the last stage in the life cycle. The fourth stage is the butterfly. A butterfly comes out of a chrysalis. It can now learn to fly. It can also find a mate. When it finds a mate, it lays eggs. Then the life cycle process starts all over again. Cycle of frog life. The eggs will hatch within 3 to 25 days, depending on the species and the water temperature. They will hatch faster if the water is warmer. Colder temperatures will slow down the hatching process. Eggs vary in size, colors, and shapes with different species. The eggs are usually covered with a jelly-like substance that acts like a protective coating. Even the jelly differs depending on species. Young frogs are called tadpoles or polywogs. They do not look like frogs yet. They look more like little fish. They have a tail and have external gills which they breathe through. Tadpoles eat plants and decaying animal matter. However, some will eat eggs of other frogs and even tadpoles. As the tadpole develops, it will first grow the hind legs and the front legs or arms. The tail slowly retracts and disappears, and the frog hops up to the land as an adult.